Hello and welcome to Pest in Class, expert voices in pest management. Today we spoke with Jeff Simmons, the owner of Malang Pest Control here in California. We discussed his door to door sales background and how he's providing his team with the competitive advantage they need for achievement. I'm your host, Amanda Salvatore. Let's get into it. We have Jeff Simmons with us today. Jeff is the owner of Malang Pest Control, which was established in 2009 here in California. We're excited to dive into your 16 years of experience. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
I'm glad to be here, Amanda.
Oh, we're so excited. And I know that when we start out our episodes, we always have a icebreaker. And you're a skier. So if you could ski with any celebrity, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I've been skiing a long time, and if I was out on the resort today, I would call up Jim Carrey and I would say, "Hey, you know what? Let's go take this run. Let's go to Sun Valley, Idaho." And he would hop down on, we'd get down to the first of the run. He'd say, "All righty then." And I absolutely love Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, my favorite movie. There's a quote that I like of his. He says that, my focus is to forget the pain of life.
Yeah.
Forget it. Forget the pain, mock at it, reduce it, and laugh at it. And that's what we have to do.
I love that. Yeah. Take its power away by finding the humor in it. I think
Right.
that's a brilliant life philosophy. And I could talk more and more about philosophies on life, but we're here to discuss pest control. So, Jeff, how did you find yourself here in this industry?
So I got started in pest control by accident. I was going to college in Idaho, a small junior college. And at that time, door to door sales was a new thing for the pest control industry. And marketing companies would come and try to recruit college students to go out and sell for the summer. I didn't even know what pest control was at that time. They had pictures of guys like, with their trucks reeling out hoses and talking about how people get a subscription service. And it was so fascinating to me. And of course, as a college student, they would have, these meetings with free pizza and they would show us how we could go out and make so much money for the summer. And I thought, is this real? Is it a scam? And my friends and I decided we're going to do it. It's really crazy. We drove from Idaho all the way out to Houston, Texas that summer, and I was not even made for this job. I was a shy, timid farm boy from southeastern Idaho, and that's how I got into this.
That's wild, especially being shy. So, what ended up being your experience? You're traveling far, you're far away from home. You are someone who is a bit reserved, you're shy, and you're knocking on these doors. What ended up being your experience that first summer?
So I got out there, and the sales came slow. I had a good friend that kept saying, "You know what? Just hang in there. Things will get better. The weather's going to warm up. There's going to be more pest activity. You'll get better at the job. Just hang in there. It's going to work out." He was right. I kept working through the summer. I was probably not good at closing, but I ran. I was putting out door flyers all day, got different leads here and there, and at the end of the summer, I was the top sales rep in that office. And so it turned
Incredible.
out, and my parents, before I even left that summer, they said, "You're gonna fail. This job's not for you." And so I actually had to prove them wrong. And so I had a lot at stake that summer.
Absolutely. And now here you are with Malang, which started in 2009. So, how did you go from that summer and then find yourself owning a pest company in 2009?
From that time, I tried various different jobs. I just realized how much I loved pest control. We hit the recession, and I said, "You know what? Like, I can't seem to get employment anywhere. It's crazy, but I'm going to go out to Southern California and I'm going to start my business." Each day that I went out, I had to make sales to put food on the table, to
Wow.
pay for my mortgage in Idaho and to pay for my rent in California as I start the business.
With starting a business during a recession, what would be your advice to anyone who is considering going down the same path, but may be a little nervous about it with a possible recession on the way.
With me, the way I started it was simple. It was completely grassroots, and I had sales skills. I wasn't afraid to get out and talk to people face to face, to go door to door. I didn't have a business loan to start it, and so I went and I actually had my grandfather co-sign on a two-door truck, an old 2002 Toyota Tacoma with a manual transmission, which isn't ideal for this job where you're doing so much stopping and going. But it started simple. I kept my costs low. I put magnets on the truck, got a simple website, phone number, business cards, and every day I went out, I had to make the sales to pay the bills.
Wow.
So that's how I did it. Just keeping it simple. Just realize it's a service and that they buy you. If you're there to serve the customer, and you care about them, and you give them quality work, they'll stay with you, and then they'll refer their friends.
I love this idea of keeping it simple and not having grand plans hold you back from getting started.
Yep, just keep it simple. That's kinda like what my focus was. I was like, I don't need a lot of expenses. I gotta cut down my costs and just focus on the accounts coming in, and I was watching the revenue tight, and I did a weekly budget back then. It just kept it simple, and every day that I went out, it was hard work. I would be out talking to customers at 8 a.m., and I'd come back home at night when it was dark. I was doing that 6 days a week when I got this started.
Yeah, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of dedication. And it's obviously proven to be successful. You're still here in 2025. I actually would love to talk about your experience. I know you start out in a recession, and then we're also, I know that COVID actually impacted you in a very positive way. I would love to hear about that a little bit.
Yeah, so that was interesting. It was kind of shocking. Nobody'd experienced anything like this before. Here we are stuck in our homes. Fortunately, pest control was a needed service, and they allowed us to stay in operation. We were one of the first to think, you know what? Let's not just go out and spray the houses. Now's the time to probably get out and start doing some canvassing and start talking to people. We thought it's kind of a big leap, but we went out and started knocking doors. I would step back about 10 feet, give them my pitch. And then the nice thing is with the software I was using, which I still use, it's able to send them a contract electronic signature, and so they could do it without any contact. And
Yeah.
everybody answered their doors. They were excited to see somebody. They got tired of being isolated. And so for that short time, I haven't had the big sales teams, and it's been a lot of me getting out there and doing the sales. And so I was really able to add on a significant amount of accounts just within a short time, and my business doubled. And so
Wow.
COVID was the best thing that ever happened for our
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. Yeah, especially I love this idea of people being so happy to see a pest control guy just knocking on the door being like, "Oh, I could talk to someone else." How lovely, like, just to have that human interaction, and also everyone being there. I know that the pest industry as a whole had a boom in during COVID because people were home and they were actually able to see the pests and see what was going on in their home, and I'm so glad that you were able to be there and grow your business during that time when it was really touch and go for a lot of industries there. I know that you mentioned your software. I kind of want to get into that if you don't mind and pivot to that. So I know your software right now is FieldRoutes. Tell me about how you first came across this software.
I love FieldRoutes. I had used about 3 other providers before FieldRoutes, and they all worked. When I started the business, I was using Thomas Guides to find customers, and we would use map codes, and then things started to transition to Google Maps. I went from one software to the next. I got tired of doing data conversions. That's so stressful as a business owner. I'd gotten a software where they did have kind of a mapping feature, and you could kind of drag and drop customers to schedule them on routes. And I thought that was the greatest thing on earth. They had text message reminders, but they didn't have back and forth communication. And so
Yeah.
then when I found Field Routes, they have text reminders that goes out to the customers. The customer can reply. Nowadays, all customers want to be able to communicate by text, And it's great for me because I use virtual assistants. So they're able to manage a lot of this stuff from overseas. Keeps my cost down there too. We got the text reminders, got the electronic signatures. FieldRoutes has got the map feature. You can drag and drop. It's got multiple scheduling things, optimization. It shows you the distance, the driving. It's so well thought out. There's so many things into it that I actually don't even know all the features. I'm continually learning every day, and there's so many things that really helps the business. There's bar charts, right? When you log in, you can kind of see the health of your business. You can see, kind of what you need to be doing. I would say that's one of the things that really helped my business grow as well, that software, because it's easier for the customer. They can log into their portal, update their form of payment. It's just so incredibly functional. And that's the thing that I've really enjoyed.
What features, I know you've mentioned a few, but are there any features that you feel really have leveraged your business?
The electronic signature of service agreements, just to put everything in place without having to go out and meet them. You can secure everything without worrying about getting that form of payment before you're there. It's easy to get auto payments. So everything just cash flows really well when we do the service and the payments are coming in. I'd say that's been significant. The electronic signature's been huge. Everything is just great, but that's one thing that really did help me a lot.
I love that. What would be your advice to anyone who is considering field routes and is a little nervous about the implementation of it?
I would say don't worry. Their support's great. They really helped a lot onboarding. The guy was an expert that helped us along, and I did it in the middle of summer. I always recommend, if you're switching software, do it like when it's a little bit cooler, a little bit less, busy, like the summer months. But I did it right in the middle of the summer because I could see the benefits right then, and I needed to get those electronic service agreements to where we could have people sign without being home. It overall it worked, and looking back, I'm glad I did it when I did. So I think it's, probably there's never a better time just to do it and just to get going with the best software that you can have. It's like technology is a big thing these days. You're gonna, not step up to the game with tech. Another company will. You've got to be competing, and you've got to continue to make it easy for your customers to do business with you.
It really sounds like field routes is giving you an edge.
Right.
Well, I want to talk about another edge that you have. I know you have all of this experience with door to door sales. You have experience when you were in college. You've done this to run your business. I know that one of your top goals this year is to have a thriving and successful sales team. So, how are you planning on doing that?
It's been a goal for a while. This time my focus is different. I'm going to focus more on the human resources, really finding the right people. My business is stable, it's off the ground. I've been doing too much in the field. I've been getting out occasionally, filling in for technician, go out and I do sales directly. And so my focus is entirely different. Now I'm going to be working on the business instead of in the business. So I'm going to focus on recruiting the best technicians, focus on training them, regular scheduled meetings, going over chemicals, going over customer relation skills. I'm going to focus on recruiting that sales team, daily meetings with them, keeping them excited, reminding them of the opportunity, going over role plays, sales skills, having that competitive office spirit. And we're going to do just a phenomenal summer this year. Like there's no doubt that it's going to be successful. It's all about the work that's put in. If you build it, they will come, right? And so I'm out there. I'm going to build the sales team, and the customers are going to come.
I love that. I love that attitude. When it comes to your team, let's talk about training. What are some tools that you've used to train your sales team?
For my sales team, I'm implementing a sales university. That's through Door to Door company. They're out of Utah. I'm also using Door to Door Millionaire. It's by Lenny Gray. There's a couple books. You can find him on Amazon. He does consulting. He's built and sold several pest control companies. He's got a very successful company now. But back in the day, he was one of my regional trainers when I was doing the sales, and he's really excelled with what he's done. And so I'm implementing his door-to-door millionaire program within our sales training. Plus, I'm using the door-to-door company out of Utah to do their sales university. So there's like video tutorials for my sales reps. They can start preparing for the season before we get into the heat of the summer.
That's incredible. So you're using, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you're using D2D experts
Yep, D to
for
D
that?
experts. Yep, that's right. I
Incredible.
always I always don't get the name right. I just call them the door to door guys. Yeah, door
Door
to
to
door
door guys.
experts.
I mean, honestly, they are the door to door guys. So we've actually had Sam Taggart on the show, and FieldRoutes does have a partnership with them. So I'd love to hear a bit about your experience using them. So you're talking about this university and these role plays. Is there any facets of that university that you just think really set door to door sales apart?
I went to their door to door convention this year, and they have what they call the Golden Door Awards. And so you can see all of these people that are so successful in door to door sales. It's really what we call it scaling the business, right? I was looking for that word, scaling the business. And so that's something that's really measurable. It's not like doing all these online ads and you pay a lot of high fees and you don't know how many customers you're going to bring in. With a door to door sales team, you can build it and you can actually measure it. And you can say, hey, you know what? I've got a goal of adding 1,000 accounts this summer. You get the right team and you mentor them, you can add 1,000 accounts every summer if you wanted to. It's not easy. It's easier said than done. It's all about recruiting the right people, mentoring them, spending the time with them, bringing the right ones on, and letting the ones that aren't producing, gotta let them go. Just focusing on maintaining that team. It's the work changes. It's going from me being out in the field doing a lot of the work. Now it's me being in the office working with the sales team. It's just you still have to work.
I love that you are getting the opportunity to find strong training for your sales team so you can step away from that and really focus on the business, like you said. I'm so glad that you're utilizing that training. Is there any part of the D2D philosophy that you're excited to implement with your team this season?
Sam Taggart has got this book he came out with, Eat What You Kill, and he talks about different types of people. And we've got, herbivores that are just sitting there waiting for, customers to come to them. Maybe somebody that's standing in like a retail store. They just are more passive. What comes in, maybe a car salesman. We're waiting for people to come into the lot. But with the sales carnivore, we're responsible for what we put on the table every day. We got to go out and hunt and kill and then eat, right? And so it's more like the door to door, go out. We got to meet and greet people at their homes, at their businesses. And what we do, hunt that prey and then bring it home, right? It's all about being a carnivore. It's a mentality of, we're not waiting for it to come to us. We're going out to get it.
What an incredible philosophy. I love that. So much energy behind it, and it's just really motivating as opposed to something that feels passive. And I am so excited for you to start implementing all of this, and I can't wait to hear how your season goes. I hope that you come back and let us know how it's going. Is there anything that you wished we talked about, or anything you would like the people at home who are listening to know?
I would say, just be grateful. Every day is a blessing. And I think when I started this business, it wasn't easy. It was the recession. And every day I just woke up and I said, you know what? I'm grateful that I have my health. I'm grateful that I can get out and work. I'm grateful that I can provide for my family. Just be grateful. Every minute that we've got, it's a blessing. I always tell those people that are close to you how much you care about them. Make time for them. Don't get distracted too much in business, in the journey. Make sure you take time for your kids. Make sure you take time for your parents, your best friends. Everything works out as long as you're grateful.
Jeff, that is a beautiful way to end this episode and a wonderful reminder. Thank you so much for coming on to Pest in Class.
Thanks for having me.